Hello everyone, and welcome to Linux Forensics here at Pentester Academy. In this video, we're going to look at ELF files. You may be familiar with ELF files or at least heard the term before, and we're going to dig a little bit deeper into this. So just so you know, we're not talking about the elf on the shelf or anything to do with Santa or Christmas. We're talking about Linux, of course. So what is ELF anyway? ELF is the executable and linkable format. So this is the standard format, not just for executables, but also for libraries and object files. So this is the one format for files that you either run or you put together somehow in order to make something that's runnable. So there are two different views for each of these files. There's the executing view and the linking view. So the executing view, of course, is used whenever you're actually running something. And the linking view is used when you're creating something to run by linking it together with other things. So in the executing view, the file is broken up into segments. If you have done a lot of programming, in particular, if you have done anything with assembly, you should be familiar with the different program segments. In the linking view, things are viewed in terms of sections. Now, for the most part, sections are subparts of segments. So you might have a segment that contains code, and you might have sections that contain individual functions, for example. Here's a high-level view of what this looks like. So you can see on the one side, here's our linking view. And again, this is the view when we are putting things together. So all of these files start with an ELF header. We'll look at that in a little bit. The ELF header is followed by a program header, which is optional if you're only using the file for linking. And there is a section header at the end of the file, which if you're using the file to link is not optional. So again, if you're linking, if you're using this linking view here, you view this file as a collection of sections. These sections are described here in the section header. If you are using the file to execute it, it has the same ELF header. Now the program header table is required, and it describes the various segments in this file. And in this view, of course, the section header table is optional. Now, there is a lovely utility that you can use called readelf, and we're going to have a look at that now. Very briefly, before we have a look at readelf, I wanted to just show you that header that's on your file. I'm going to use the head command, and I'm going to pipe that to xxd, and here you can see the header for this file. So all of these files will start with 7f. That is called a magic number, and it says, I am an executable. I'm an ELF file. And this is followed by the signature ELF, as you can see over here. So that's the header. There's some other things that follow, such as version numbers, etc., and we'll talk more about those later. So let's look at readelf. So I'm going to run readelf -- file header -w, capital W, that is. Now, this gives you wide output. If you don't use -w, no matter how wide your terminal is, it will restrict your output to 80 characters. And I'll run this on Xingxi bind shell. So here you can see that it has come up with my magic 7f followed by the signature. It tells me what kind of file this is. This is a 64-bit file. So it's not a 32-bit executable, it's a 64-bit executable. It's a 2's complement little ending system. 2's complement is a way of doing negative numbers in assembly. It's the standard way, by the way. I've never seen anyone use something else. It's little ending, which we already knew. Version 1, it's Unix System 5. This is the branch of Unix that Linux comes from. So you will see this in other executables as well outside of Linux. It is an executable file for an AMD 64-bit processor. Here's the entry point address. This is where execution of the program begins, and this is a pretty common address. Where do the program headers start? They start 64 bytes into the file. Where do the section headers start? Again, that's that header table at the end of the file. Size of the header, size of program headers, number of program headers. We'll look more at those later, etc. So that is a real high-level view of the ELF file format. We will look at this some more in future videos, but that's all for this video. As always, if you're enjoying these videos here at Pentester Academy, please tell a friend. We'll see you soon.